Honorable Judge Beverly Brown, I will allow myself to address few outstanding points, few outstanding matters arising from the pretrial conference number 3 that did take place this past Thursday at the courthouse. But let me, if you allow me, please, you just have to, I will introduce you to the friends, and I am fully transparent. So, friends, as you remember, at some point in August of 2023, I did introduce you to Mr. Ben Snow, Crown Attorney, and he has been in charge of the particular file, Toronto-based Nazi and the fake Jew Armin Kohn from 71 Rainier Square, Scarborough, Toronto, via Yuri Rudnitsky, someone who did expose to 40 million Canadians in May of last year, 16 months ago, this particular despicable Toronto-based Nazi. And as some of you know already, I was the one who did uncover unprecedented religious crime of the fraud, crime of the century, committed by my own people, Jewish people, so-called Travis and Rebitson from so-called the leadership of Jewish Russian community of Ontario. And this past Thursday, the pretrial conference, judicial pretrial conference number 3 did take place, and I will be addressing Honorable Judge Beverly Brown. She was the one who used to preside during those 3 occasions on July 5th, August 2nd, and September 12th. So, Your Honor, at some point tomorrow on September 18, I will compose a relatively short email, and at some point I will be delivering within this particular video will be definitely addressed within email and some notes, so it would be beneficial for all of us. And if you would allow yourself not just view this video or not just review emails that I am going compose at some point tomorrow morning or tomorrow during daytime, rather I would really appreciate if video and email I did not start composing yet will be attended to by you. Your Honor, first of all, I'm straightforward person. I'm going to be within next couple of weeks 67 years old, and I do not feel my age. I don't know. So, Your Honor, it is unfortunate. It is very unfortunate that some points, some matters related to judicial pretrial you were presiding over, unfortunately, were not addressed. So, and as you remember, maybe not, you have many cases, I have only one. Another court appearance, my court appearance, will be taking place during Jewish New Year celebration on October 3rd. And I am proud Jewish person, but I am not really so-called religious Jewish person. I don't know what does it mean, religious. I am a Jew, proud, concerned, and vigilant Jew. So when you suggested October 3rd, and I did realize right away that it would be October 2nd through October 1st, it's a New Year celebration, I did not hesitate, and I did not say, Your Honor, no, sorry, I am a Jewish person, I cannot. So I will be attending. Your Honor, this particular case, and I fully understand that presiding judges during one or another pretrial conference, judicial pretrial conference, do not really have to be familiar with all the particulars of one disclosure or another. Definitely not. But this case, and not only because you were the one who were presiding during 3 occasions, due to the fact that it's a straightforward, pretty complicated case, but at the same time straightforward. You were familiar just 5-10 minutes from the time we started interacting on July 5th with actual case. And it's a straightforward case. Jewish person, Yuri Rudnitsky. In May of last year, 16 months ago, did expose to 40 million Canadians degrading Toronto-based Nazi who has been misleading Canadian residents for decades, Nazi who has been misrepresenting himself as World War II veteran, Soviet military pilot during World War II, when in fact he was not even enlisted into Soviet army or any other allied force. Rather, this is degrading Nazi who started his Nazi collaborating activities immediately after Nazi Germany forces occupied his hometown village called Pavlich, Ukraine, about 100 kilometers south of Kiev. So I'm not going into details, etc., etc. So at the same time, in May of 2023, I did realize that I did uncover someone who used to enjoy and steal status of Canadian hero, status that was granted by this degrading fascist, degrading, despicable Nazi by Ministry of Veterans Affairs Canada. Rather, I did uncover unprecedented religious fraud of the century committed by my own people, Jewish people, so-called rabbis and rabbis from Jewish Russian community of Ontario. So, during the pre-trial conference number 1, and as you remember, and you definitely remember, I was not instructed properly when I was released from custody on June 22nd at 32 Division, following proceeding with a lovely outdoor installation, the Nazi show. I was not instructed properly, and I was instructed as such that the pre-trial conference that had been scheduled at that time for July 5th won't be taken place because I was told at that time that new additional disclosure probably won't be available before July 5th. And I was told that I have to attend schedule event, let's call it event on July 5th, a new date would be given for pre-trial conference to take place. So when I arrived, you did realize that I was not instructed properly, but somehow you did encourage me to proceed, even though I did not prepare myself. Anyway, at that time, I started clearly emphasizing to you and to the crowd representative that I definitely cannot allow myself proceed with a trial based on so-called original initial charges, criminal harassment by repeated communication with a person, and I didn't have anything against criminal harassment by repeated communication with a person, since it won't be possible. It won't be possible, one or another Crown representative, to present the case before one or another presiding judge one day, that based on all the evidence from the original disclosure, it won't be simply possible to present the case that Yuri Rudnitsky actually did commit crime within what it was stated within initial disclosure, criminal harassment. Otherwise, it was not actual point. The point I made, I stated clearly that I intentionally proceeded on July 21st, posting, erecting outdoor installations and Nazi shul within the outdoor premises of so-called synagogue at 17 Church Avenue in Downsview, Toronto, in order to ensure that police and Crown, they simply won't have a choice, and they would be proceeding charging me, the Nazi hunter and indisputable expert in Jewish identification, with the hate crime and defamation label, since on this particular original outdoor installations and Nazi shul, it was stated A.Konn, Toronto-based Nazi and the fake Jew, when in fact A.Konn, according to all the info available to be consumed on the internet, Canadian hero. And it was stated on one side, the Nazi shul, and you did enjoy viewing, and I did pay attention during the pretrial conference number 3 when I presented many photographs. Toronto police presented within the additional disclosure where it's a great photographs. Unfortunately, they were not colored, but still great. The Nazi shul, and you did learn one Yiddish word. Shul, synagogue, and on another side it was stated Toronto-based Nazi and the fake Jew A.Konn synagogue. So Yuri Rudnitsky, the one who was accused of committing crime, criminal harassment by repeated communication with a person that he did not commit, did address, respected by all synagogue shul, as a Nazi shul, meaning it does not matter. I could stay Nazi rabbis. It's the same, absolutely. So plus, and you did right away, I did present the case to you, and I stated, Your Honor, you know what, following realizing that rabbis and rabbis from Jewish Russian community of Ontario that did commit this unprecedented religious fraud of the century do not have any intention to apologize before 40 million Canadians for committing this crime, for harboring Toronto-based Nazi and the fake Jew within the community. I started addressing them charlatans, frosted, despicable, degrading. So definitely it's defamatory libel. Definitely it's a hate crime. So I would like to remind you, Your Honor, and please, I would appreciate if you would pay attention. I would appreciate if you would pay attention, since on October 3rd, I won't be proceeding, accepting dates that maybe would be giving by one presiding judge or another. I won't be accepting those dates before my concerns of concern and vigilant Canadian residents would be addressed. Before concerns of the one who did expose to Canadians despicable Nazi who has been misleading successfully Canadian residents for decades. Concerns of the one who did uncover unprecedented religious fraud of the century committed by so-called rabbis and rebbitzin. Concerns of this person, concerns of Yuri Rudnitsky, just have to be addressed before Yuri Rudnitsky will be willing to proceed with the trial. So pay attention, please, and you will be paying attention. You won't have an option. So by the end of pretrial number 1, when I ask you to inquire with a crowd representative what party, police, crown, or court I have to address my concerns related to the fact that On July 5th, I realized not police, not Crown, those two parties, they didn't have any intention start charging me with defamation label and a hate crime. And I did ask you to inquire with the Crown what is the reason and also what party I have to connect with. And you, experienced judge, and I do understand we are going to celebrate in a couple of weeks' time 21 years since you started delivering justice to Canadian residents residing in the province of Ontario. You did ask Crown representative, 30 plus Crown attorney, please advise the accused person, and the Crown representative at that time stated, Your Honor, I'm not in a position. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position start addressing this matter. I have to consult with my colleagues. And it was the end of the pretrial conference number 1. During the pretrial conference number 2, since you did realize that those people from the Crown that were present, they were not familiar with the file at all, you were disappointed, you were frustrated, and I did understand your frustration. It was disgusting that nobody arrived who were familiar with the file. So the pretrial conference number 3 was scheduled, and we met once again. At the beginning of the pretrial conference number 3 that did take place on September 12th, I did ask, I said, Your Honor, if you allow me, I would like to make sure that you did review my email. I did address initially to the Crown representative, to the Crown attorney, Ben Snow, on August 29. The email and the video that was incorporated when Crown attorney in the case was addressed. And this particular, I did emphasize that this particular email and video I did forward to you several days prior to the pretrial conference number 3. And I started making inquiries if this email was reviewed, and you said, Mr. Rudnitsky, unfortunately not. And it was just great that Ben Snow, Crown attorney, immediately said, you know, yes, Mr. Rudnitsky did send me this particular email. I did review video, and I made a hard copy. I do understand. I thought that for one reason or another, clerks won't be delivering this email to you. And you started reviewing this email. You did invest quite significant amount of time into reviewing my email. And it was several pages, I would say, email. I did not learn how to express myself in 2 words. So you did review. And we started addressing different points. And at one point, I did say, Your Honor, you remember, during the pretrial conference number 1, by the end of the pretrial conference number 1, we left the premises based on assumption that the Crown representative will be inquiring with her colleagues in regards to the inquiry I made. What body Yuri Rudnitsky have to connect with in order to start inquiring? What is the reason Crown by the time the pretrial conference number 1 started on July 5th, did not present to you, the Honorable Judge Beverly Brown, the case that additional charges of defamation, libel, and the hate crime were added. So, and as you remember, you did inquire with me about my email, rudnitskykorenblum@gmail.com, and I said yes. And you said, okay, you will be probably contacted by the Crown, and your inquiries will be addressed. During the pretrial conference number 3, you did realize that my inquiries were not addressed. And I started make same inquiries once again, and Ben Snow stated, Your Honor, you know what, Mr. Rudnitsky have some issues, some matters with other police divisions. We are going to proceed only based on whatever was prepared by certain police division number 42. And when I stated what, and I apologize right away, you intervene and you said, Mr. Rudnitsky, no, you know what he was trying to say, that not that you were charged with some other offenses that maybe could be qualified as a hate crime and defamation label, offenses that you were charged by different police divisions. He simply mentioned that you were in contact with representatives of different police divisions. And I said, you're absolutely right, Your Honor. And the only matters I have been discussing with representatives of 22, 32, and 42 divisions were matters related to this bizarre case that Yuri Rudnitsky did expose to Canadians in May of 2023, degrading Nazi and his despicable degrading Jewish religious handlers. So, and I started making another inquiry, and you said, Mr. Rudnitsky, I am not in a position to direct police or Crown start charging you with what you think you have to be charged. And I made another inquiry, and I did ask, Your Honor, since police within the initial original disclosure did mention several times that Mr. Rudnitsky, the accused person, had been addressing Canadian hero in many instances as a Nazi. I ask again, since police did emphasize within the disclosures that Yuri Rudnitsky had been addressing 30 plus the rabies emissaries from Jewish Russian community of Ontario as despicable fraudsters and charlatans, and I did ask, since it was stated, I would like to know if those matters I would be allowed to bring to the attention of the court, even though actual charge only criminal harassment by repeated communication with the person. And you said, Mr. Rudnitsky, you know what, it would be up to presiding judge. And this is what you said. So, Your Honor, I did enjoy tremendously interacting with you, and you were very attentive, etc., etc. But as you remember, at one point I said, Your Honor, you are not just honorable judge. You are concerned and vigilant citizen of this country. And it was a statement. And we do expect that each and every honorable judge in this province of Ontario is a concerned and vigilant resident. And by the end of pretrial conference number 3, you knew already that this particular case It's unprecedented one, unprecedented case that outrageous prosecution of the one who exposed to Canadians Toronto-based Nazi who has been misrepresenting himself for decades, misleading Canadians for decades. The one who uncovered unprecedented crime of the century that was not attended to. This is the case that many parties, rabbis and rebbitzins, police, dozens and dozens municipal, provincial, and federal politicians did not want start attending to. And you did realize right away, and by the time we met on September 12th, this case already was 16 months old, and you did realize Mr. Yuri Rudnitsky has been addressing Toronto-based Canadian hero as a Nazi, and respected by all rabbis as fraudsters and charlatans, criminals. And nobody, you did realize, nobody confronted the accused person in this regard. Nobody said, Mr. Yuri Rudnitsky, if you continue addressing those respected by all parties as such, we will bring you to justice. And you said to yourself, wow, apparently it's not everything kosher with Canadian hero A.Konn, and it's not kosher with rabbis and rebbitzin. Mr. Yuri Rudnitsky has been tirelessly addressing as fraudsters and charlatans committing unprecedented religious fraud, not attended to. Your Honor, you know, I did not attend one or another law school, as you understand. And I'm not claiming that I know anything. I do not know anything. I am just concerned. I am just vigilant person. So, Your Honor, it was your obligation. When I started during the pretrial conference number 3, bringing again and again in front of you this particular matter that for one reason or another, and we both understood at that time what was the reason that police did not want to charge Yuri Rudnitsky with defamation, libel, and a hate crime. And we both understood by the end of the pretrial conference number 3, the reason Crown attorneys did not want start upgrading charges. And you did understand. And you're supposed to be concerned and vigilant person. And I believe you're supposed to say, guys, Mr. Ben Snow, you know what, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, and there is a chance you won't be satisfied with what I'm going to say. But this is an unprecedented case, and I truly believe that it's not everything kosher with victim number 1, A.Konn. It's not everything kosher with people Mr. Yuri Rudnitsky addressing as a team who has been harboring within the community Toronto-based Nazi and the fake Jew. So I cannot allow myself simply to conclude that pretrial conference will be completed within next 5-10 minutes following Mr. Yuri Rudnitsky presenting all of his experts. So I was waiting for you to step up. You did not. And when within an hour following departing from the courthouse, I did receive phone call from one friend of mine, Russian-speaking Jew, who has been familiar with all the particulars, and he said, Yuri, what is going on? And I did explain in 2 words, and he said to me, Yuri, I remember you were mentioning that you expecting that with all your respect and admiration for Honorable Judge Beverly Brown, you do not think, and this is what I said day prior to the pretrial conference number 3, and you said to me, Yuri, I remember you said with all your admiration and respect for Honorable Judge Beverly Brown, you do not feel that she would start acting the way how we, people that did not attend law schools in one country or another, feel she's supposed to start acting. And I said, you're absolutely right. And he asked me, Yuri, did you mention to Honorable Judge Brown that you won't be accepting one or another time that would be given during your next court proceeding attributed to 4 days long trial until all the matters we did discuss the other day will be addressed? I said, no. I intentionally did not proceed in this direction. I will wait for a couple of days. And I did not want to sound naive. And he understood me right. I said, Yuri, I understand. Let's give her time. Maybe in a day or two you will receive phone call from Beverly Brown, Honorable Beverly Brown office, asking you to accept a kind of apology that something that's supposed to be done during the pretrial conference number 3, based on exceptional circumstances related to this case, were not done. So, Honorable Beverly Brown, again, I will compose email at some point tomorrow when I will have time. And just a couple of words. You remember, before departing, I said, Your Honor, I believe the pretrial conference number 4 would be required. And you were looking at me, and I said, you know what, Your Honor, in order to attract even more attention to this bizarre and tragic case, I probably start considering proceeding with erecting another the Nazi shul outdoor installation within outdoor premises of so-called synagogue at 17 Church Avenue. And you were looking at me and you said, no, there is a chance you would be charged again with a criminal offense. And now, just one point I would like to make for all the folks that tomorrow or day after, months from now, 10 years from now, will be watching this video of mine on YouTube to understand how sharp you were during the proceeding. Few minutes before I said, Your Honor, you know what, I believe the pretrial conference number 4 would be required, and I explained why. You said to your assistants, please, let's take a look at Mr. Rudnitsky's next court appearance to schedule time for an upcoming trial. And you said they did have some issues, fines, days available, and you said, you know what, we do not need on that particular day that one or another judge would be presiding, since it would be just to schedule upcoming trial, and it could be even justice of the peace. And when I started presenting scenario that could be the pretrial conference number 4 required, and I did present myself in a pretty understanding manner, explaining why I think the pre-trial conference number 4 would be required, immediately you said to your assistants, please schedule the pre-trial conference, schedule whatever next court appearance with one or another judge to be presiding. So thank you. You are professional. You are exceptionally professional. And I did enjoy interacting with you tremendously. But one more time, this is exceptional case of prosecution of a Jew who was 65 years old at the time he uncovered unprecedented fraud religious committed, who was 65 years old at the time he exposed to Canadian Nazi who successfully has been representing himself for decades. Exceptional case of prosecution of this person. And it started just very lightly. When Yuri Rudnitsky accessed to all the email accounts associated with @jrcc.org, email accounts, his access to rabbis and rabbits was terminated. And when they realized it was not enough, on September 16 last year, exactly 1 year ago, Yuri Rudnitsky, who had been prior 30 years veteran of this community, was expelled from the community based on his refusal to remain silent. And then when all the folks did realize that Yuri Rudnitsky, even following the events that did take place at the headquarters of the Jewish Russian community, when he personally was expelled from the community by the founder and the senior rabbi, Joseph Zaltzman, with a Nazi to be present, when Joseph Zaltzman, senior rabbi and the founder, clearly stated, Mr. A.Konn, member of the community, but you are not any longer member of the community. And when all the parties that has been refusing start attending to this degrading case realized shortly after that Yuri Rudnitsky is still refusing to remain silent, he was charged with a fabricated, despicable in terms of fraudulent, so-called charge of repeated communication, criminal harassment by repeated communication with a person. Your Honor, thank you for your attention. And I'm not sure if 38 minutes video would be uploaded to YouTube. If not, I will do something. But I would like to make myself clear. It does not matter how many people will have enough patience to attend to this pretty long video. It does not matter. 1, 2, 10, hundreds. It is my obligation to post this video on YouTube following expressing myself. It is my obligation to inform you, Mr. Ben Snow, your colleague at the courthouse, that during the upcoming court proceeding on October 3rd, Yuri Rudnitsky won't accept one or another time that would be provided for the upcoming trial until all the matters that I will emphasize, A, B, C, within the letter I will start composing tomorrow, won't be addressed. Thank you very much for your attention. I would rather meet you one day at some point at the Opera House. But Toronto Opera House, it's a pretty funny institution. For different reasons, I know that, for example, today on 17 within Opera House premises. The band from Great Britain, Basement, is performing. Maybe they did finish performing, so it's not really an opera house. Now, few hours ago, I did review article about the Honorable Judge Andrew Goodman. He is a Hamilton judge, and he has been involved in the past with some high-profile cases. And it was information that Honorable Judge Goodman, 14 months following delivering verdict, and verdict was in regards to, let's say, 8 years in regards to one or another manslaughter, whatever. It does not matter. All of a sudden, 14 months later, he decided to address his colleagues and public, emphasizing that definitely some miscarriage of justice was done due to the fact that, according to Honorable Judge Andrew Goodman, prior proceeding delivering verdict, he did have two versions. One version based on 6 years prison sentence, and another based on 8 years prison sentence. It is funny, definitely, by itself, but this is what was stated. And according to Honorable Judge Andrew Goodman, at that time, 14 months ago, he did not read the correct one that he's supposed to deliver, associated with 6 years, and person was convicted, given 8 years prison sentence. So, Your Honor, I understand you and your colleagues could start laughing. I don't think you would start laughing following viewing this video and reviewing email. I did not start composing this. But again, I'm not claiming that I know anything. And probably another Yuri Rudnitsky you won't be meeting tomorrow, day after, 15 years from now. But I just do not want to be in a position as Honorable Judge Andrew Goodman, who 14 months later delivered to the public news that somehow he did not read the correct version. I do not want to be in a position few months from now you would come up with some explanation that yes, somehow I was tired by the end of the day, and it was about 4 p.m. already when you thought we were finishing the judicial pretrial conference. You were tired, and somehow, even though you're supposed to address extremely important points Yuri Rudnitsky had been trying to deliver starting during the pretrial conference number 1 on July 5th, you did not pay enough attention, and the pretrial conference was completed without attending his crucial inquiries that's supposed to be attended to before deciding completing the court proceedings. Thank you very much. And I am in a lovely part of Toronto. We are not residing in Vienna, so this particular area, anyway, it does not matter. When I am now enjoying myself based on where we have been residing, it's a pretty decent, even though it's a regular one. It does not matter. Thank you for your attention. I am looking forward to address you once again within the email I will start composing tomorrow morning or during daytime. So it's a Tuesday night. I don't know. Maximum by Thursday morning you will be receiving this email, and you will be receiving this video and email. Thank you again. Thank you. And the justice should be delivered during all the points in terms of criminal proceeding. And the justice should be delivered not only during actual trial, one or another. Justice should be delivered during one or another pre-trial as well. And I strongly believe that, unfortunately, I'm really sorry, Honorable Judge Brown. Unfortunately, justice was not delivered by the end of court proceeding that I am addressing to as a pretrial conference number 3. And I'm positive you, your colleagues, would be on the same page with me. This is not actual point that we could allow ourselves to proceed with the trial. We will proceed. I am anxious to proceed, to expose further to Canadians degrading Nazi, to expose further to Canadians my own Jewish people committing unprecedented religious fraud that was not attended to yet. But some points needs to be addressed first. Outstanding points you failed to address this past Thursday, September 12th. Have a good night.